will she be locked in as we dive into this draft?
I don't think she'll make it through the banning phase in this series is my expectation, especially with Viper and Ruler on Rift. I mean, there are many 80 carries you would not want to face Yunara with around the world, but there are 3 in the Legend group that I would never, ever, ever want to face or let them have their hands on it. Aurora is going to be banned early here on blue side, which does kind of push a potential Gwen angle here. The Yone also banned, a good read here from Gen.G from that T1 series. You called it out earlier. Varus is a new mainstay on blue side, as that empowers your first pick Yunara, so you kind of force that ban even harder.
Yeah.
Maokai is going to be taken away now. I love this. We've seen some really cool drafts from Hanwha recently. They're pulling out the Maokai, they're pulling out the Yone. Zeus' Jax was a really good shout. And Gen.G are just reading some of the angles that Hanwha Life took against T1 really well here. And a blue side Pantheon ban.
Yeah, this is really angling towards getting the hands on Yunara.
But they could have.
They possibly can.
They could have gotten Pantheon or Yunara given the bans on red side here, so I'm a little bit surprised by that.
The problem is that trading with Gen.G is almost never a trade-up. So on blue side, you really do need to triage the situation where you're putting them in a position where you actually get more than they do with just the one pick. And with this Taliyah ban, I mean, there's Azir, there's Yunara, there's Gwen, there's Rumble, there's everything. Wukong's still available. It's ridiculous.
I would rather not play the Yunara into Canyon, but Hanwha Life Esports is going to take that gamble.
You have to, though. I don't think that you can risk it up against, like, even if you lock in the Wukong first, what do they get? They get Yunara, Azir?
Yeah, probably.
That's not fair.
I do think that I'd rather be on the Wukong side of things, though, in this matchup. It has been the best jungler into Yunara so far here in the LCK, and the few times we have been able to see the matchup. And Gen.G were very willing to give this over and have the Wukong in response. They'll get the Azir as well, and it's Chovy's Azir. And when it's the strongest mid laner on the patch, with the strongest mid laner in the world, I feel like when you see the Yunara on the other side, you're a little bit less concerned. But like you said, if you're Hanwha, you don't want Ruler to have it either. And it is kind of a catch-22. And it's that trade that you mentioned. Gen.G is so willing to make these trades. So they're like, we're the best team in the world. So if you think you're going to get an S tier for 2 S tiers on red side, maybe you should think again. They're not going to pick up the Wukong, though.
That is crazy to me. I thought that the Wukong would be something that they would immediately dive on just because of how good it's been into the Yunara. Peanut can grab that one for himself, like it could be Wukong Annie or something like that.
I think he definitely needs that way. Like, this is just such a too big of an opportunity to pass up. And I wonder what the trap is here for Gen.G. Do they really think the Trundle answer is going to be the best one? I'm not a big fan of it into the Wukong myself anyways right now in this meta. I don't think it's bad, but I just think Wukong is way better. As we're going Ahri, and Vi is available as well.
Yeah, this is the thing. I think the Vi situation is what Gen.G were wary of, right? So they allow HLE to choose their jungler, and then they'll pick the thing away, because otherwise there's 2 answers that they have into the Yunara still left up in Wukong and the Vi.
I wonder if it would have been better to not pick Ahri and go Vi Rumble here. Because now you can't get the Vi and the Rumble because you picked Ahri, and I think the Ahri would have been less likely to be banned, and there's still a few other mid laners you could play with the Vi. Now they're not going to get the Vi. They got the Rumble, though, into the Gwen, which is a pretty decent matchup. I think that'll be a pretty fair one there on the top side. But they can take the Wukong themselves still on Gen.G's side. Gen.G, I mean, Wukong plus Gwen has been one of the strongest pairings that we've seen when there's no Aurora up, which was, of course, banned on blue side. I think this one's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that it made it all this way through. And you can imagine that Hanwha, they have a plan. Peanut has cooked something up. He's got to have. Otherwise, this is kind of just a disaster, to be perfectly honest.
It's like Hanwha read too much into it. They thought too much about it when they could have just gotten the Vi Rumble. And I don't think Zeka needs to play Ahri in this draft. The Vi is obviously going to be gone, so
yeah, you're not going to be able to play that. And it means that Peanut either has an answer or they messed it up, right?
Yeah. I think he's got an answer. We just don't know what that's going to be just yet.
Just have to see.
I mean, trying to ban some strong pushing bottom laners is probably going to be the name of the game here. Like, I think Nico needs to be taken away 100%. Maybe even Rakan Nico is probably the look here for Hanwha. They take the Bard away instead. Bard works really well with this comp too.
And also, Duro has been fantastic on the Bard. I think the Jhin has been good for Ruler as well in situations like this, but he can play a lot of different things. He could go back to the Ezreal or the Corki as well if he'd like to. that 2-item spike would actually be very, very powerful in a composition like this, as the Xin Zhao are going to be taken away from Peanut. So they're the junglers that he's not allowed to play, and he'll probably he'll just play Trundle is probably what it's going to be.
I think you're 100% on the right track, and I'm disappointed about it. You can ban Rakan here, you can ban Nico, but you can't ban both. You also would love to ban Jhin, that you pointed out.
Yep.
There's just so many good... This is the kind of Gen.G draft where you're like, oh, they went Gwen instead of Wukong, but still got the Wukong. And now you're like, well, there's 3 picks that are insane for them, and you can only ban 1, and they opt to ban the Nico. So Jhin is up, and they could save that counter pick for Duro.
Yeah, if they'd like to do that, unless they want to get like a priority Alistair or something like that. With the Trundle still available, the Alistair stocks are pretty high because you don't steal away his damage reduction and can still be a tanky frontline for this squad.
That's a good shout.
See where Ruler is going to go, though. It is just going to be his Corki that has been pretty consistent.
Insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is crazy on this pick. Poor Jiu found out, man.
Oh,
just how crazy he is on this pick. Oh boy. All right. Well, at least it's a Wukong, so he can't snowball that lane too hard, right? Can't dive too well with the Wukong early, right? Poppy is the answer here. It looks like for Hanwha Life, and maybe that's a jungle pick here for Peanut.
That'd be a fun one. It's kind
of a tricky one. I didn't really see that one coming, but it is very strong, and it is going to be that jungle pick. It looks like for Peanut with the Alistair to come in as a response. It is not going to be a fun laning phase. I can tell you that in the bottom 2v2 early. I think we're going to see an early call buy and the fastest lane swap possible scenario to get out of that one, but it is a really interesting Poppy. Pretty decent into the Wukong, great into the Gwen as well.
Yeah, I like the angle.
Control.
And if they do make it through the laning phase, then the utility this Poppy can provide later in the game is going to be massive, especially when there's a Rakan attempting to do stuff and Poppy can just say, no, you're not allowed to do stuff. That is going to be pretty powerful as well. I think HLE, if they can actually get through this and find their way to a late game, things could actually be all right, especially with Yunara. They're always threatening to be that hyper carry in the later stage of the game. The problem is when you look over the other side, there's the quadra damage threat problem.
Yeah. Of these 10 champions, one sticks out like a sore thumb, and it's the Ahri. It just doesn't really suit this comp anymore. They didn't get the Vi with it. It's not horrible with Poppy, but the synergy isn't as strong as what you could have had with the Vi or with the Xin Zhao or even a Viego, for example.
Yeah.
And they picked the Ahri over the Vi, and I think that might be something that Hanwha Life Esports regret heavily here. The Rakan isn't as oppressive in lane as the Nico is, as a Karma could have been. We were never going to see Karma Corki, but they could have run something else. They could have gone for that Jhin we talked about. I think the level 1 in the laning phase is going to be so incredibly important. If you can get to level 2 with the Alistair, maybe it's playable. Maybe you can actually offer some damage back into that Corki. I don't think you take Cleanse or anything like that. You're definitely going Barrier in this case. So I'm curious to see how that level 1 goes, because I think it is going to be such a big deciding factor down the bottom side. And if for any reason Zeus messes up the top lane matchup with the Rumble and falls behind, that lane swap gets trickier. This comp is playable for Hanwha. I really like the Poppy angle here, but it is a much harder draft, I feel, than the Giga S-tier draft that Gen.G have with comfort across the board.
Yeah, there's a lot of champions that are just considered pretty good on the red side of the Rift for this one, but let's see whether HLE can do it as we jump onto the Rift.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for game number 1, HLE versus Gen.G. As we've already iterated, this is going to be potentially a tough one for HLE to navigate, but they do have that coveted Yunara pick. And Viper has already shown that he is extraordinarily good on this champion, as Duro and Delight are just, demonstrating some emotes that they have access to. Delight, you can't do 2 in a row like that. 3 in a row! That's crazy.
Yeah, I think more it was Duro showing what he has access to.
Yeah, exactly. And Delight saying, I have a favorite.
Yeah. Is that Jace? I don't even know what that one is, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen that one before either.
Yeah, it's my first time seeing it. Maybe it's a relatively new one.
I relegate myself to shaky hand crocodiles.
Yes, that's the only one I use.
Top hat pengus. That's all I really like.
I have the one Karthus that's like really excited and laughing as well, and the Jinx that does the peace sign.
Yeah, for me, I don't want to micro emotes. I don't want to think about that when I'm playing the game. So I just set everything to shaky hands Renekton, and that's enough.
Yeah, shout out to Morgan. Well, here's the level 1 we were talking about here. as barriers taken for both. 80 carries, no surprise. Yunara here, like when you lane into Yunara, she will always out-trade you in almost every scenario, and when your level 1 is Rakan, it's really hard to actually beat her at that, so Viper has a lot of power here at level 1 to try to kind of chip away. If he can get his Q online, he's stacked up, you see he has 5 stacks right now, the ruler has to be really wary of him pressing Q and just running him down, even with an Alistar in this lane. They hit level 2 first, though.
Yep. You saw actually, they had to try pretty hard to make sure that happened, and Grand Entrance is going to do a bit of work towards Delight here. So the health trade actually is going to go in favor of Gen.G in the end. Bossbong does go a little bit wide though, as level 2 is going to be found here for HLE. And as the levels start to come in, Delight is going to feel more and more like a champion instead of just a cow.
This is such a big test for Viper in this game to play into Rulers, Corki. You know, he picked the Yunara, Wukong was up. Like, it was such a bold statement that they made. And when there's so much discussion going on right now about our top 380 carries, right? Kuma, Ruler, and Viper, like, people have opinions in all 3 spots. You know, some people say any of those 3 is number 1, some say any is number 3. It's so exciting that we actually get this Yunara matchup here. Because you and I walked into today's series being like, well, I just don't think we see it today. Both of these 80 carries are so insane. Yep. It's just too much power.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be the definite must-ban on both sides of the Rift. But Gen.G have decided that they're going to throw the gauntlet here in Game 1. I respect the risk taken. I imagine if it doesn't work, it will never be taken again.
Yeah.
And definitely not, obviously, in this series because it's Fearless. But still, I think if they ever met again, it would also be a time where that risk is just not going to occur.
It's just fun to me because you have the Wukong that's been such a great answer, and they pick it knowing that's going to get locked in, but they're like, we think Yunara is strong enough. And Viper's been very vocal that he thinks Yunara is insanely strong, so... you know, I love to see this confidence on both sides. Like, we have the answer, and like, no, your answer isn't good enough. I'm too good. As Peanut's coming up here with an early Poppy gank onto Keen.
Let's see whether this one works as he flashes in. They do get the stun, but that position on the circle, a little bit powerful here, and Keen just walks it off. Does have to use the exhaust, so that is at least something, but not the biggest of deals here for this Gwen, whose health bar is still kind of all right.
Still, you know, Peanut really losing nothing for this. Going for the topside scuttle.
Yep.
You get the smite on that, so it's just a quick little gank. If Keen messes it up, maybe you get a kill there, but instead it'll just be the exhaust. Keen playing very respectfully in the lane, knowing the power of this early Poppy. The Wukong is going to struggle to match pre-6.
Also, Peanut does get a Hex Flash out of it as well, which is pretty cool. Activates the Summoner spell.
Nice.
That feels good. Obviously, investing the Flash doesn't feel fantastic, but when you are Poppy, you have that Hex Flash angle, and you can just pop out of the jungle using it. Can be important. As Viper just softening up the wave with the Slurkle here, as we can see.
Yeah, and, you know, this lane is going pretty well here for Viper.
Yeah, just fine.
Ruler did take the earlier back, pick up a tier and a dagger.
Cannon advantage there for Viper. Massive lead for HLE. You can see that 100 gold?
Big.
That's basically that cannon.
Big money.
Yeah, ludicrous. First rate going to be a Chemtech as well. Shoutouts to Orcs, who is going to be here on the space today, obviously paying attention to this pivotal matchup, and will not be giving us a Chemtech soul. Just brilliant.
Yeah, he's obviously
he's back. Yeah, he's at the PC, and I'm sure. Let's just believe that for now, so that it's headcanon.
He's a numbers guy. He looks at all the numbers.
Yep.
He will tell you how much, you know, well, would have told you how much Giant Slayer would do, and you know. Yep. How much first strike gold has been generated, stuff like that. He's very, like how many points in Braum Q, these types of things. He's very much a checker.
He knows exactly how many points there is in Braum Q today in this particular matchup.
Not in this particular game, of course, but maybe later on.
We should tell him that in games that Braum isn't in, he doesn't need to continually report that there are 0 points in Q. Because it's just not necessary.
He didn't put any points in the door on Alistar.
It's crazy. Where's the stand beside me points?
Why is Alistar 2 points in Q?
Why is Zeus ulting Keen? Well, it's so that he can clear out this wave.
Well, Peanut's coming back up here. And Keen does not have that exhaust still.
Oh no, Cannon just goes wide. So Keen, let's see whether he's going to be all right. Not going to be able to get the stun from the heroic charge, but that is still going to be enough. Top of the morning to you, does say Peanut. And that is going to be the trade here for the Dragon as another Gwen hits the dust.
Really nice usage of the ult there to crash the wave so that Peanut can come through. You could see the moment where Keen was like, am I better off just letting this go? Can I survive here? And he doesn't have his exhaust. His positioning is really good, though, because he knows there's a Poppy, right? Like, he's 100% sure, but he's like, I just don't want to get shoved into the turret. He's able to avoid that, but there's just still too much damage here with the heat that Zeus has. He gets taken out. And does not have teleport, so loses a lot of minions. Now finds himself 20 CS behind this Rumble pick for Zeus, who again is having a bit of a resurgence, but a lot of this is the double gank here from Peanut. A lot of resources being given to the top side, where the bottom side has otherwise been self-sufficient here. Now they're going to swap the lanes.
Yeah, this is a pretty good place to put your money, though. You were mentioning already as, all right, Pole Flash to come through towards Ruler here, who does just Valkyrie away.
And Delight,
So he's all right.
he can just back and TP to the top lane because he has Unsealed Spellbook, so making plays like this, holding the wave as best as he can for Zeus, really cool to see. That's why Unsealed Spellbook is so powerful, so fun right now in a lane swap meta. It's the TP that's the most valuable. You know, we talked about Smite a lot, but we don't see it as much anymore. It got nerfed.
Yep.
But the teleport is still as relevant as ever, and you'll see him actually TP to mid right now to match Duro first.
Yep, just going to be trying to be where he needs to on this map. But like you were saying, Zeus being the one that gets the advantages here in this early game, such a huge deal here for HLE, just with the fact that his form has increased so much over this week, at least.
Yeah,
It might be one that can actually carry.
it's that top matchup we talked about that can be kind of volatile, but if you get a win early, because the Wukong can't really affect the lane as much pre-6, it means that now the lane swap is faster for Viper. You know, now he's able to control the tempo up here. He can be here by himself and allow Delight to make some impacts in mid lane, right? Teleported there, gave them grub control. Now he's got a nice flank angle here.
Oh dear. He is just going to face plant. He's level 5 as he uses Ruler as a bit of a taxi, but it's not going to help him. That is Canyon getting a kill back as the grub does go down, so Peanut is at least able to grab all 3 of them.
They didn't really play through that flank, so maybe it wasn't the nice flank angle I was describing, as they just decided to go for grubs instead. They get all 3.
It's a flanked angle, not a flank angle.
Yeah.
There are different options here. There's the flash in from Duro, and I think there was a Viper there, but he has gone missing. And Peanut not even going to get the ult off as he looks to clear out this wave.
So
now the gold lead is Gen.G's.
It's a big win that you denied the grubs, but it was very expensive to do so. And Viper stays, even though everyone on Gen.G is topside and Canyon hits level 6. So they're just like, well, if he's going to be there, I guess we'll kill him. And they just go and kill him. And unfortunately for Delight, his flank attempt, or whatever you want to call that. Flanked attempt.
Yeah.
I guess was a success.
No, flanked was successful. Unfortunately, wasn't good.
It wasn't a good end result for his teammates and his team and his gold deficit that he has now.
Not end of the world or anything like that here for HLE, as you can see, even as these waves start getting cleared out, the gold lead is going to disappear entirely. It is 1 kill away from Feats of Warfare. That's going to be a good thing there for Gen.G to upgrade some shoes or some socks.
Yeah.
But it is only 1 objective apiece thus far.
This Ahri, no Annie in this game. The Ahri pick, maybe I've been trying to think about more reasons why Keen is just going to get zoned away here.
Oh, the Hex Flash brings Delight in. There is the Pulverize to make Keen's life annoying, but Duro's going to be coming on over.
They just want to deny him some more farm here as the wave crashes.
Yeah, there's the grand entrance as Peanut. Not going to be able to stop him with the steadfast presence at the moment.
So Viper,
another plate going over to Viper though.
Yeah, Viper's getting money, so is Ruler, but they're going to go for more.
Double Pulverize is fantastic. The Equalizer comes down. That is such a dead Gwen. Akaruan going to cut him up, and it's the Yunara picking up the 2nd kill. Zeus also getting another one. 2-0-1 on this Rumble as HLE surge back into the lead.
I was going to say this is twofold really bad for all man. Zeus has TP as well.
Wow, imagine if he just kills Ruler here. As Zeus is able to actually land those harpoons, but the barrier comes through. Is Zeus actually going to die? No, he's not. He's got a scrappy shield, and he's able to grab the 1v1 kill. That is a killing spree here for Zeus' Rumble, and that is a big deal in this game as HLE also look to take the top out of turret for feats of strength.
I mean, Chovy has a 20 CS lead, but that's really the only place that Gen.G have an edge anywhere on this map right now. And, you know, I was gonna...
Whoa. Chovy?
Whoa.
That was just an unforced error. As Duro is going to come on over, but Chovy had to use his flash.
So I guess the idea was he was thinking about going for a shove into an engage from Duro there because he had his quickness, but Like that's the only thing I can think of.
No,
I'm not even sure.
I think he just didn't press W.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to save it for him. So, like, what I was going to say before this happened is Ruler's trading plates bottom side, but it's not equal trade because Gwen is losing farm. But then beyond that here, the Rumble, who didn't teleport, comes up here. They get 2 kills for the Yunara. She gets more plates on top of it. Then he TPs down and solos Ruler here. It's a close fight, but because he has Flash here, he knows he should be able to outplay the Valkyrie.
And it's kind of crazy that Ruler's stuck around. Valkyrie actually does do a fair bit of damage here, the mini equalizer, as we like to call it. It's so close there for Ruler, just not close enough. And I don't think he needed to take that fight. As now, Ruler looking to fight against Viper and Delight here.
I mean, Viper has Kraken Slayer. I don't know, even with a quickness like that you're really going to get the fight you want here against Viper, who does have his ult back up, and he uses it.
Yep, immediately. So that does mean that they do trade quickness for the ulti out of Viper. It's going to feel nice.
I mean, the lead for Ruler is there. It is very small. He has a big farm lead, got a plate down in the bottom side. Like, he's 30 CS up. But this Yunara is so close to him, and the Rumble is such a huge problem.
I mean, he's 50 CS up, 2.5k gold. Like, it is absolutely... The entire gold lead is Zeus.
And sometimes you put the Gwen down in a matchup like this, and the Gwen loses farm, but usually the Rumble doesn't also pick up 3 kills.
Yeah.
You know, the Gwen from behind is a really big problem, especially because she has no grubs. So even if she does get some time in the side lane, Hanwha Esports aren't that worried about it. But, I mean, this is just such an immense gap. And the Yunara is just so strong later on that a paltry 200 gold lead for Ruler will mean nothing. I mean, it barely means anything now because he's down an item because he hasn't been able to buy his first one yet. And, man, Hanwha Esports are having a great time. And Chovy's weird mistake earlier didn't end up getting punished for him, but he doesn't have Flash now.
I mean, yeah, hasn't been punished yet.
Yeah, he might be punished later as Peanut's got his Flash back up, and I don't know what happened to Zeus pre this week of LCK, but he is ready to play against the other teams in the big 3. He's 100% on lock.
Yeah, he is. He's had some of the Michael's secret stuff, I think.
Yeah.
He's found something to get his mojo back, and he's looking real scary. Blue side Rumble as well, something that we have learned to trust. However, I mean, 1.8k, not going to finish anything off or anything like that, as Viper is dead yet again. Ruler is going to lock that one down. And
bit greedy there.
Yeah, sometimes there's a Wukong and a Rakan, and you die. It just is a thing. Often it's paired with the Annie, as we see in the Rise group. That is sort of our trifecta of death. This works just fine.
Yeah, their jungler was bottom side, as he may get a backstop here. I don't know if he wants to. I don't think he will. Their Peanut was bottom, and they had a lot of vision top side, so they just didn't really know where Canyon was. So I think if you're Viper here, you should probably play around the fact that you only have that control on the top side. You see he has on that top rush, but doesn't have it on the bottom, and he is just deleted.
Yeah, not a lot of living there. As quickness was back up very, very quickly there for Duro as well, so he should have that in a little while. Fighting against Delight for the moment, and does have his redemption. Could actually be a big deal if there is going to be a fight around this next dragon. Cloud Soul as well. Oh my goodness, it must be my birthday, as Pulverize going to come through there from Delight, but a lot of damage from Canyon, who has been just farming mainly in this game. He's only a little bit ahead of Peanut, who is looking to take down this Rift Herald. Zeka underneath this turret.
Delight's here with Exhaust. If he can close the gap to that turret.
Yeah, the Bash Brothers are coming in, and they've now got a Pigeon as backup. In goes Duro, looking for that angle onto Zeka. He is pretty slippery as Delight gets in there. There's the exhaust down, and Canyon just has to get the heck out of there. Thankfully for him, Duro was tanking the turret, but Canyon still may not be out of the woods just yet, as Zeus is moving his way in. The flash is going to be used, even if that charm wasn't necessarily going to land, and Peanut just drives the Rift Herald into this outer turret. The amount of extra pressure HLE has this game is just kind of massive with how huge this Rumble is.
You could just feel how pressured Gen.G are. Even though they saw the Alistar briefly there, they were like, I think we still have to try to commit to this. But when he has the exhaust there, it's just so tricky. And then the charm hits for Zeka as well. And that's all they needed to defend that. And I mean, they did get Zeus' TP out, but that's really the only victory in that bottom exchange. The 2 Drake lead is quite significant in this game. Cloud Soul is insane for both of these comps. Like, look at the list of champions that you have on both sides, and it's like there's very few that don't get insane value, and those that don't actually get some value anyways. So
Think
like,
about
even
it.
Corky likes it.
Yeah, I mean, Rakan has an ability called the quickness.
Yeah.
It needs to be adjusted. It's like the really quickness.
When you have Cloud Soul as Yunara, though, you're also just going to have the greatest time in it.
You're basically Zeri.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, she already kind of is basically Zeri, but
yeah.
she is going to do insane amounts of damage with some extra speed to allow her to close the gap and have some additional safety, which she needs so desperately. Chovy is going to get this turret. The lead that he has is starting to feel quite significant, right? Like, he is a side lane menace already, even though he doesn't have any grubs. Drake is up, and they have full cryo in mid. That Chovy Zir turret is put up, the Sun Disc is there, and they are poised to try to grab Soul Point here. It's going to be tough. Hanwha Life need to rotate in. Zeka has TP, but they're so slow on this.
Yep, and Kane has gone full economy mode. All the money is going to Ruler and to Chovy. Is now, let's see whether this team fight is going to work. The Equalizer going down very early on in this fight. But Keen in that circle, feeling pretty good about it. There is going to be the Keeper's Verdict that gets rid of this Azir. But into the backline goes Duro. Charms everyone up as the Equalizer. Sorry, the shove finds nothing at all. Chovy missing a button entirely, just breaking my brain, but it doesn't actually matter. It's 3 for nothing.
Yeah,
there
Duro,
from Gen.G.
Duro saves it. Keen does the most damage in the team fight. He was the one they engaged on, and even Gwen that's behind on gold has a Rift Maker. I believe he had it for the fight. He must have, because he's got a No Magic Mantle in his inventory now as well. Is still going to be immune when he presses the immune button.
Yeah.
So he does not actually get burst down. He does survive there, and then Duro's turn is phenomenal. He has Flash and Ult, and he utilized them incredibly well there. And Hanwha Life Esports, I think, you know, if you really were going to fight for that dragon, you had to show up earlier, because look at the lack of cryo they have here. The Equalizer is decent, but the engage onto Keen is a complete bust. Like, it just doesn't get them anything. And now the Keeper's Verdict sure gets Chovy out, but Peanut goes in alone. Zayas is pushing onto Keen, and Duro's just like, all right, well, I guess I push forward here. You're exposed. Viper avoids the ult here.
Yeah, Chovy actually gets Viper's Slash for that one. So
yeah.
I tell a little fib was still a pretty decent ultimate to make sure that Yunara wasn't in range of anyone.
It was a good ult, but, you know, I don't know if even if you hit, or rather, even if Viper doesn't get ulted there and tries to come into the fight, that he's going to have a good time, you know?
No.
He wanted to. He wanted to start to pop off. He's got 2 items now. But Gen.G now get back in the lead in gold and have a huge win con here in this Cloud Soul.
Exactly. And Duro just, like, straight up won that game. Won that fight by himself. It was such an incredible angle. Avoids the Steadfast presence, flashes through, charms absolutely everyone. And after the Equalizer is down at the very beginning, even this Fed Rumble isn't actually able to do too much. So Gen.G moved to a 1.5k gold lead. Soul Point there as well on their side.
And you say, you know, you misspoke when you said win the game, but that might have just won them the game, in fact, you know? Like,
yeah, true. It wasn't what I meant to say, but maybe it was Freudian. That could have been the angle.
I still think Han will have a good team fighting comp, and they can still come back in this, especially if they can catch Canyon here. Then we'll get his ult out at least.
Yep.
I don't think this is going to be like a haha, we can get Otacon now moment, but it's a small victory. As Chovy is crushing the side lanes. Like, he has had a lead over Zeka in farm this entire game, and now he's starting to really put the hurt on this turret. He was able to take out that turret bottom side. He is a huge threat and is able to do a lot safer damage than the Rumble can do when you keep getting engaged on by Wukong, the Rakan, and the Gwen is a problem as well.
All right, Peanut taking a little bit of damage, but he collects his buckler, so he'll be fine. His Poppy, so he's extremely tanky in this game. HLE not wanting to give up an Otacon or anything like that without a fight, but they're going to need to get some vision down if they want to know exactly what's going on here, as blue buff going to be on their minds for now. That is Peanut locking that one down. Zeka collects it as well, so he will have blue for this next potential battle. But the problem is 2.1k, the gold advantage, and like, I don't know, man. I feel like Keen is like a new car. It's like even the economy mode on this car is still way better than any one of the cars I've ever owned.
No,
man.
I know. It's crazy how much he's been able to do with nothing. No grubs, you know, was down 2k, did the most damage in that dragon fight with Duro. I mean, because Duro set him up for it, but still absorbed the pressure there because Hanwha's target selection was a little bit iffy as they desperately tried to contest dragon. But Gen.G have map control with this really powerful Azir that is going to get his second item actually on this back. So Rylaze is done. And my biggest concern is, can you actually team fight as Hanwha into Gen.G's comp when they have prio on an objective? Like, if Gen.G start Otacon, they won't do it right now, but at a point in time where they do start Otacon, which will be relatively soon, like Corky's on 2 items, their turn with Wukong, Azir, Rakan is insane. How can you approach the Otacon? How can you stop Gen.G from doing these objectives? When Gen.G say that's mine, it's theirs actually. And look at the damage.
Well, I mean, it all depends because Poppy is there so that you can always say no to any kind of group up that you ever get out of any team. But it relies on Peanut always landing that Keeper's Verdict perfectly and HLE responding immediately. Like, I don't think that equalizers can go down preemptively before the Poppy is decided we're actually committing to this fight, right? And I think that that level of coordination is what HLE were missing in that last fight, and hopefully they hold on to in the next one, as Duro is just going to knock up Peanut. Quickness is going to come on through there as Peanut is going so low. Has to flash as the rocket barely. Not long enough to pick up the kill onto the Poppy. And we were saying,
redemption!
Oh, the redemption kill from Duro! Oh no!
Oh man, this redemption sniping has actually become a thing this week in LCK.
Yeah, it really
Everyone's
has.
building it. It's got such immense range, so you can just snipe people. And that's Otacon. Like, there's just no way you can stop
Yeah.
Keen as TP.
We said the only answer that they have to Gen.G team fighting is Poppy. And
well, they
Poppy's
don't have it
dead.
anymore. And like, Keen doesn't even have to show up here, but he can with teleport. He gets a whole turret before.
Well, Chovy just going to divide Zeka away from this one. Is able to shift the sands correctly this time around, but I don't think he's getting out of it, and that is going to be a kill going over to Viper. That is a big deal. Lots of money. But the Otacon is still dead.
They may not need to try to force to get more here. I just don't know if they have the tools to do so. Zeka's going to have to go super deep if they want to. Looks like they're just going to get a turret, but this is not a trade up. And you can see the petals here.
Yeah, they deny Cloud Soul. There is at least that. But just one Cloud Drake. This is the power of the soul, right?
But Ruler's going to get inner here as well in return. Every choice you make on the Rift when you're behind means that the enemy team, if they just realize where your bodies are, will be able to get a better, arguably, cross map. And that's what Ruler's going to get on top of the Otacon they just picked up. This was a bit opportunistic from Chovy, as we're going to, before that, talk about Peanut getting caught here. And this Corki does so much damage. And he's going to look for the snipe, by the way. Let's watch this. Knows exactly where he is.
Oh, man.
And he said it before he died, of course. He was sure. There's no way that Poppy gets out. Knows he doesn't have flash. This was opportunistic from Chovy to try to look for a catch as the Hanwha Life members rotate in. He just gets punished for it. So at least Hanwha were able to get this really nice punish onto the man in the mid lane.
Yep.
That's a small victory, though.
Shutdown gold going over to Viper is definitely good, but I just don't know whether it's going to be enough to stem the bleeding. You can see still 700 gold behind. Nash's Tooth now done for Keen, who just wants to chill in a side lane and try and catch back up. That gold lead for Zeus has gone down by 1,000 since it was initially put there after that catch onto Ruler on the bottom side.
A collector buy here for Ruler. This is a big, big item for him in this draft. See what he's getting. Yeah, it is. And that's so good into the Yunara here, and they have so many tools to get on top of her, and they have Prio, and they have vision everywhere. I do think that Hanwha, if Gen.G make a mistake, or if Chovy tries to do something greedy again and gets caught, now he's flashless, like a 5v4 fight could be theirs. But I just think fighting into Wukong, into this Rakan is so difficult.
Infinity Edge does get completed here for Viper. The problem is, like,
can he fight, though? Like, will he get a chance to properly fight? Like, he's had so many... he had a huge lead early, right? He's had so many angles. He had his first item first, but if he doesn't get to 5v5 team fight, how many items he has in his inventory doesn't matter. If he's just dead or if his team is dead around him, Yunara can't do it 1v5. And that's my concern.
Yeah, Peanut's starting to realize that if he's the one that's up there trying to clear wards and he's picked off, then they lose a Baron, and that is likely just going to be game over, as the gold lead currently 3.5k. And it's just kind of nuts. I feel like HLE did a lot of work in this early game to get themselves into a good position, but it was just natural laning leads, largely from Chovy, that really never made it feel like they were able to run away with it, as Peanut is just taking damage for free, not even allowed to enter his own jungle as Chovy moves over, looking for this Poppy. One more auto would have done it as the equalizer comes through to block off Canyon to try and join this fight, but unfortunately, Delight's just dead.
That was not really... I mean, this is what happens when you don't have vision. You know, this is what happens when Ruler can just say, all right, my team found somebody, I will now go towards them and shoot them. And Chovy's doing the same thing. Like, you have these insane high damage carries, and even though your third carry in this Gwen is not ahead, is not fed, she's still got 2 items, she still does a lot of damage. That Baron is just dead. Yep. And they have bullied Peanut in this mid game. Now we're heading to the late game. They only got him twice, really. But those are enough to get these big objectives. And look at Peanut here just trying to get into his jungle. They have really no vision. They're trying to fight over this ward here. Viper's trying to push in.
Oh my
And Delight
God.
just dies.
Yeah, Ruler just hits him with 2 buttons. And he just, yeah, he used the ult that late. It's just not going to do anything.
It's just, I mean, it's a Legend Group game. Like, you know, when you get this kind of a lead, our top teams don't make mistakes, and our big 3 certainly do not.
And also, you take risks like this in the draft, and sometimes it just doesn't pay off. Yes, you managed to get that coveted Yunara pick, but unfortunately, it's not enough of a checkmate to stop like Gwen Azir on the follow-up with an Aurora Band. And then the Wukong being available is just kind of nuts, as Zeus is just dead to Ruler as well. He is collecting like you would not believe.
It's so strong in this comp.
It's ridiculous. And Delight is likely to be dead, but Keen is probably going to do the same thing. And never mind, Delight will survive. Another cheeky little kill going over to Viper there. But
right.
it's kind of a drop in the bucket, unfortunately.
Yeah, the timing, too, isn't really going to be something that Hanwha Life Esports can utilize here. I mean, they're facing Baron. Like, the fact that this trade is here, it doesn't mean they get to just walk over and take Dragon with a faster respawn for Zeus or anything like that. It just isn't really going to be advantageous for them. It's a misstep for Gen.G, but that's it, and King can just teleport in.
Ruler is so far ahead as Dura able to dash his way out. Yeah, Ruler just doing 1.5 billion damage there to the cow that doesn't have the Unbreakable Will. A double kill comes through here as Ruler is like, is it Penta time?
Because, like, Ruler can't, like, no one can kill Ruler. Because if you try to get close enough to him as Ahri, you're going to get ulted. Like, there's so many tools to peel. Wukong is there. The Rakan is there. Viper can't hit anybody. Like, Ruler was only, like, 1,000 gold ahead moments ago. Now he's 2,000 gold ahead. He doesn't have, like, that big of a spike ahead of the Viper's items here. But he has that collector. He has all that extra lethality damage. He does so much, and he can free hit because no one can get close to him.
Nexus turrets are just going down. In goes Canyon looking for an opportunity. That is a dead monkey. I swear the Rumble just came back to life, but the Nexus gets 2 hit by this Corki that was just out of control. Look at that grin, man. He was like 50 CS ahead of the clock. Even Chovy was looking at that number enviously.